Good evening, CIL Nation, for the final time this season in the Formula College World Championship, and welcome to tonight's Brazilian Grand Prix from the famous Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where tonight we will formally crown our Spring 2023 Formula C champions. Interlagos has historically hosted the Formula One championship race, and tonight Formula C comes to the rolling hills of Sao Paulo to crown its champions. Our Muhammad Alif has clinched the student championship for himself and the college championship for Ball State University alongside his teammate Cale Davidson. On the alumni side, Nick Daly of the University of Texas at Arlington is your alumni champion, and he has secured the collegiate championship for his school as well. But as we get into tonight's race, there's still plenty to fight for throughout our championship table, including those final overall podium positions in each of our classes. And as for Interlagos itself, this circuit was constructed in the late 1930s, one of the oldest tracks on the Formula C calendar this season, and is named for the late Brazilian driver Jose Carlos Pace back in the late 1970s. This track is 2.67 miles, 4.3 kilometers in length, and has 15 corners, 9 to the left, 6 to the right, and 4 sectors for our drivers to navigate this evening en route to the season finale. A lap at Interlagos starts out with a medium-speed set of S's, turns 1 and 2, aptly named for Ayrton Senna, a great overtaking opportunity for the Brave, which leads the drivers to this flat-out sweeping left-hand Curva do Sol, down the Reto Oposta straightaway into turns 4 and 5, 2 tricky downhill corners, Descida do Lago. A short straight back uphill into turns 6 and 7, a parabolic corner, and a tricky one to stay flat out in, leads the drivers into turn 8, our third major overtaking opportunity. This goes downhill into Pinheirinho, turn 9, and turn 10, Bico de Pato, our final overtaking point on track. Another wide open left-hander into Mergulho starts the uphill trek once again, Juncao, turn 12, and back out onto the main Subida dos Boxes pitch straight for the remainder of the lap. And Josh, this is a track that I've been excited about all season. I love Interlagos. This is a great historical racetrack that always produces great racing. And even thinking back to our Brazilian Grand Prix last season, in the pilot season of Formula C, we saw some great battles on track.
Yeah, there have been a lot of battles at FC, at this track, and in this season. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We can already see a lot of speed coming in the timing tower. We've seen DeWale up at the top currently. We've seen Jordan Johnson up in the top as well. So there's a host of schools and drivers who are making their speed known at this track. And you would have that, Zach. It's the final race of the season. These drivers and these teams have been preparing. So we're going to see St. Clair College. We're going to see a lot of pace there. We're going to see pace from Purdue University and also from the standard schools like IUPUI and Ball State. Cale Davidson will be up front surely as well. You can see Clemson. That'll be another front runner, we assume, right there, and Andrew Williams. But, yeah, a lot of these drivers trying to do their best. Qualifying, you can see a little bit of a toe there for Andrew Williams as he comes around the corner. And these drivers are going to have the chance to stretch their legs tonight, this being an FIA Grade 1 circuit. Not too much drafting. Don't get confused with Spa or Monza, but it's going to be pretty fun, and it's going to be technical here in these corners and these straightaways here down in Brazil, Zach.
Yeah, there's really two main parts of this track, and the first big part is what I call the technical sector. As you see riding on board with Williams, you can see just how short these corners are, one after another. You've got to be almost perfect to do well in this sector of the track, but it's a right, left, right, short straightaway, another right-hand corner, and then you finally get flat out, and then that begins our long, I call it the long form sector. Lots of long straightaways, some wide sweeping corners, and then you get back into the technical stuff. But Andrew Williams right now is tied for 6th place with Lucas Santos from UMN. They are tied at 66 points apiece coming into this race. So the battle for 6th place is still not over in our championship standings, but a quick look at the overall picture, on our student side, Muhammad Alif has clinched the championship with 229 points. The driver second to him is his teammate Cale Davidson, 76 points behind Alif. And then it's only 30-something points back to Cohen Evans in third place. So Cohen Evans can secure P2 tonight, but he would need Davidson to have a night to forget, really. And Evans would have to score a lot of points for IUPUI. Athena Leclerc is in fourth place right now and is locked in that battle with Cohen Evans for the final podium position. So we'll be sure to keep an eye on that as the evening progresses. And then Carmen Caruso in fifth for Ball State. He has 71 points, and then our battle for sixth with Andrew Williams and Lucas Santos. Looking at our alumni side, Nicholas Daly, 219 points, has secured the alumni championship for both himself and UT Arlington. And then Ted Burns back in second, 86 points behind. And then there's Andrew Burrell, only 4 points back from Ted Burns. So Clemson University can walk out of this race P2 in the individual alumni championship. But then there's Nick Patinella in fourth, with who's only 7 points behind Burrell. So a very, very tight race for second place heating up on the alumni side.
Yeah, these drivers are going to have a lot to play for, both for themselves and for their universities as they try and navigate these final laps. 13 laps per sprint, 2 sprints this evening for these drivers. In the top 10 will get inverted. That has given us, Zach, more action than we could ask for as we have gone through the 6th and into the 7th race of the season tonight. This is something we're going to see on track. Qualifying, don't know if you want it all the time, but Jordan Johnson and Zach DeWale having a little battle right here. Perhaps Jordan Johnson enjoying a little tow.
Yeah, Jordan Johnson is making his return to the Formula C grid tonight. Of course, the reigning champion from last season stepped back, went to bigger and better things, but he has decided he is coming back to play tonight in tonight's championship race. So good to see him back for Kent State. But right now, trying to get that tow from Zach DeWale. I believe DeWale held the provisional pole until Jordan Johnson set that new fastest pole lap, as I believe we're getting close to the end of qualifying. Only a couple minutes left, Josh.
Yeah, these drivers getting ready to rumble here as we go through. It's going to be exciting, and I think that we're going to see a lot of moves, Zach, with the little bit longer straightaways and the bigger radius of corners. These drivers are going to have more opportunities, to overheat their tires, to overdrive their car, but also they're going to have a little bit more time to place their car where they want it, or maybe where it shouldn't be. And so, especially down into turn 1 here at Interlagos, where the braking zone coincides with the ever slightest kink left before turn 1 actually approaches. That's going to be an option for drivers to try and make their presence known and be a little opportunistic right there. So if viewers had seen our Bristol Cup race last night, Monday night, they'd be familiar with drivers trying to pick their battles and allocate space for everybody up on track, as Nick Patinella from Robert Morris University gets a little bit more than he wanted on his final corner there. And that is where so much time, Zach, is made up, as these drivers carry their momentum through the last corner onto that long straight. These cars are flat through that last corner down into turn 1. It's very long here, even though it's not totally straight, and that's where we're going to see a lot of drafting for these cars as well.
Yeah, and the tow is going to be extremely important down the front straightaway. Turn 1 just on its own, the Senna S's, they're not necessarily an overtaking opportunity just because of how wide those corners are and how it pinches off in turn 2. But the draft is going to be so strong down this long front straightaway that you're going to see some drivers take some peeks to the inside, especially in this heavy braking zone. You can see how off-cambered this corner is, as Cale Davidson fighting the car a little bit right there through turns 1 and 2 to keep that thing pointed straight. But this is going to be one of the trickiest turn 1s on the calendar this season, and I think I think it's a recipe for chaos and possibly disaster for some of our drivers if they get caught up in an incident on the first couple of laps in turn 1.
Yeah, could be the case. These drivers will have an opportunity, of course, to make amends in the second event if anything goes awry in the first heat. Again, 13 laps, time limited to 30 minutes, but generally not a factor. 13 laps is what we're focused on here tonight. But getting down to the end of qualifying, nearly there, in fact, and Jordan Johnson and Kent State. That's going to be your pole sitter. I don't see Zach DeWale on track right now. I don't see Andrew Williams coming up to the line. So Jordan Johnson and Kent State looking like your pole sitter right now as he puts in some fun laps, and iRacing has decided time to move on. But that is the grid so far. So Zach DeWale, P2, and looks like, Zach, it is time for the grid.
Yes, here is your starting lineup for tonight's first sprint race of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Jordan Johnson of Kent State University takes pole position on his return to the CIL one last time. Zach DeWale to his outside will start in second place. Drew Williams, with a barnstormer of a lap, secures third place on the grid. Cohen Evans from IUPUI takes fourth on the grid. Lucas Santos fifth. Alex Diamond sixth from Drexel. Athena LeClaire from St. Clair College goes seventh. Cale Davidson, P8 from Ball State. Andrew Burrell from Clemson University, and Tyler Klingensmith will round out the top 10. Jason Wallet from Drexel University will start 11th. Ishan Basine from Beloit College starts 12th. And looking a little further on down the grid, 13th goes to Nick Stockner from Clemson. Christian Hill takes 14th for Mount St. Mary's. Matt Stowecki will start 15th for James Madison University. Nick Patinella starts 16th for Robert Morris. And Luis Diaz for FIU will start 17th. And I believe we are getting ready to go. The drivers are on the grid. They've got the motors fired, and we are about ready to go at Interlagos. And the lights are on. The drivers are ready. The engines are roaring. We are ready to go at Interlagos. Going to watch Jordan Johnson as he takes off. The lights are out, and then they're off. Barney throws the green. Jordan Johnson gets a great launch out of his box. That's Zach DeWale right behind to the inside. He's going to try and move up to block the charge from Andrew Williams to the outside, but he's got Cohen Evans underneath him, is able to clear Evans going into turn one as the top three go single file through turns 1 and 2. But Evans and Santos are still locked in this battle for fourth and fifth place, but it looks like everything's going to get sorted out single file. I don't think we had much chaos into turn one. It looks like the drivers were able to keep it relatively clean as we are single file down the back straightaway for the first time. A lot of drivers moving to try and set up some moves into turns 4 and 5. This very tricky set of corners where it's easy to go wide right there like Drew Williams did. A little off for that Clemson machine, but he keeps it straight and is going to try and take on Zach DeWale and Jordan Johnson for the lead. Now looking at, I believe this is Cale Davidson battling Alex Diamond for the 6th position. It looks like Davidson is going to presumably walk away with that position for the time being as he's going to make his charge up to the front.
Yeah, and using one of those off tracks quite smartly. There is a Clemson machine off in the background, but yeah, Cale Davidson right there moving pretty quickly to get around, and that's what you got to do if you want to be first here. It's 13 laps is long enough, but it is a sprint race by definition. So Cale Davidson deciding he's going to use one of his 13 off tracks to get around that machine, and does so for Ball State University. You can see right there, P6 on your screen, just behind this guy, Lucas Santos from the University of Minnesota. This gopher will be featured a little bit later tonight in our student pitch, but right now he's going to try and make a move outside of Cohen Evans and that IUPUI machine. The Jaguar, long tenured here in CIL, down into turn 1. It's pretty tough to get around if the driver chooses to defend. It looks like Cohen does, so that will be a couple more corners that the gopher will have to wait. But yeah, right there, CIL driver and marathon runner Lucas Santos will be trying to make his move. Still, though, has a pretty good toe. And we talked about, Zach, drivers are going to have an opportunity to hang with each other in that draft. It's gonna change their options that they have as they try and do battle around this circuit. And so here we can see Minnesota looking to the inside. Does it pop up? Yeah, not quite. Pretty well defended right there. And so down into the corner. Getting a little bit more technical, Zach, where you said so. He's going to have to try and figure out just how badly he wants to get around the Jaguar machine.
Yeah, and in this technical sector, it's really, really hard to pass. But if you get a good exit here out of the Pinareno corner, you can get a good launch into turn 10, although it doesn't look like Santos did that. Mentioned that this is a sprint race, but you still have to be smart about your car's resources. There is a little bit of tire degradation towards the end of the sprint where the lap times fall off a little bit, and you've got to keep that in mind. And it looks like Evans and Santos are going to try and work together here maybe to catch up to these leaders. Of course, Santos locked in that battle for the sixth overall position in the student championship with Drew Williams, and they are currently separated by under a second on the track, advantage to Williams at this point. But Santos is trying to think about how he's going to get around Cohen Evans to take on that Clemson machine. It looks like we've got a battle for P2 right now. Here's Drew Williams looking to the outside of Zach DeWale, but DeWale and St. Clair are going to defend the inside of turn 1. Drew Williams gets a great launch out of turn 1, and he's now to the outside through turn 3. They are going to be side by side down the back straightaway going into turns 4 and 5. Right now, it is advantage to DeWale. He got a little bit better of an exit, and they're going to take the 37 of Cohen Evans and Lucas Santos behind them. DeWale is still to the inside of Williams as Williams runs wide. Cohen Evans runs wide through turns 4 and 5. That's going to let Lucas Santos get by, but Drew Williams will walk away for the time being with that second position, but this battle is going to start heating up as they get into this technical sector.
Yeah, it's squarely a four-car battle now. IUPUI still trying to defend from the University of Minnesota. Clemson is trying to get away from all of this, and St. Clair College right behind. Pretty good tactic, Zach. You called it out for the last two cars in this group to work together, gain a little bit of draft up along that front stretch. It does help the car in front as well, so that air doesn't have so much volume to close in behind that car. NASCAR fans will have heard Larry McReynolds say that a number of times. Nothing new with the concept of drafting two cars faster than one, but yeah, good move from there. And so these drivers are going to try and get on down the road in single file for now, Zach. So we've got a moment to breathe. But again, these drivers are going to be thinking how to and where to make a move on the driver ahead of them, as long as they don't expose themselves to the driver behind. Right there, Zach DeWale trying to have a look, see maybe if he can just throw that Clemson car off his line a little bit. And I'd be remiss if I did not mention that you can see that car, that strong red and white Ball State livery coming into the shot, guys. That is Cale Davidson. He was fast in practice, super fast in qualifying. And right here, we're going to go side by side. And St. Clair College down on the inside. Drew Williams with a strong move around the outside. He's going to make use of that off track. Not sure if that will in fact be a slowdown here as these drivers continue side by side. Drew Williams still having the position on the inside, and Zach DeWale is probably going to have to take an off track if he wants to defend into this corner. He'll want to be on the inside of this turn when we get there to the left-hander, but he's going to have to work pretty hard to do so. University of Minnesota actually in a pretty good spot right here. If he can just keep that front axle, and he nearly does, but not so much, and the 0-2 smartly closing off that position. The go for no, and not really where you want to stick your wing to the right of that right-hander. Right there, strong defense, and then back across the track here as we come to the final turn. This is where these drivers have the opportunity to get a good run or a bad run on to the front stretch. Single file we go out on the front stretch, and Clemson leads the way, followed by St. Clair. IUPUI, Zach, pulling out to the right side.
And we're going to start lap 5 this time by, and what started that whole chaos, I saw Drew Williams dip the tires just a hair into the grass in turns 2 and 3, which set him off pace just a hair from DeWale, and that allowed DeWale to get the run. But now there's some chaos towards the back of this front group vying for that second position. Cale Davidson trying to figure out which of these two cars in front of him he wants to go with, as they are side by side, Santos and Evans through turns 1 and 2, and still side by side in turn 3 down the back straightaway. But the advantage goes to Santos, and he's going to bring Davidson with him as they're going to try and set up this run into turns 4 and 5. There's no challenge from DeWale on Williams up ahead as Davidson and Santos are side by side. Santos runs outside of track limits, and Davidson is going to make through with that position. What a drive from this Ball State driver so far, but Santos is not going to go gentle into that. Good night, Minnesota's to the inside of Ball State into turn 6 for the first time, or for the first time this lap, this battle. And it looks like Santos is going to come out on top, leaving Davidson and Evans behind him single file, but that will surely change in the next few minutes.
Yeah, and we saw out there, Cale Davidson really tried to keep his momentum up around the outside using that off track to attack. Unfortunately, didn't work out for that team. So, University of Minnesota, but Zach, a little bit vulnerable right here from Minnesota. The Gopher doesn't really have any drafting help in front, and that Ball State machine is going to be ready to go behind. Oh, yeah, and Cohen Evans in the mix as well.
Yeah, this 5-car battle for second position has devolved into a 2-car battle for second and a 3-car battle for fourth on track. That fourth place right now belongs to Lucas Santos. Cale Davidson runs fifth. Cohen Evans sixth. As we take a look at this battle now, here's Davidson with the lunge to the inside of Santos. He's got the advantage through turn one, but Davidson takes the outside in turn two, and they are now 3 wide into turn 3. Davidson walks away with both positions there. He's able to defend successfully against those two, but will that change down the back straightaway? It looks like Evans and Santos got the better launch. Evans is boxed in. He has nowhere to go except for behind Davidson as Santos tried to make the lunge underneath that Ball State 17 machine, but can't quite get it to work, as Davidson is going to use that off track in turns 4 and 5 to get the advantage down this first straightaway into this small uphill section before we get to the technical sector. Will things change as they start this portion of the track? Here's Santos with a look, backed out of it at the last second. Smart play as we're approaching the halfway point in this first sprint race, and they are still single file through this technical area. And don't think things will change until we get back out to the front straightaway when, like we mentioned, that draft and tow will come into play. But it looks like Evans had a bad entry into turn 11 that time by. He's going to lose out on just a little bit of a time. Got to really focus on exit of this corner to get a good run down the front straightaway. Got to be really careful about running on that curbing. These F4 cars are so low to the ground that you can actually high size yourself on that curbing on the exit of turn 12. And that'll send you straight towards the wall. But these drivers able to control their cars as now Davidson pulls out to a little bit of a lead. And do I see Zach DeWale making a move to the inside of Drew Williams? Yes, it's DeWale to the inside of turn 1. Williams has the inside in turn 2, and he is going to make off with a position going into turn 3. But Zach DeWale is going to have the advantage going down the back straightaway. Williams does not have the tow. DeWale does. We're going to see if he mounts an attack. You can see the run closing up to that back bumper of Williams. Here, DeWale tried to look to the inside, thought better of it, a little too far back to make a move, as both of these drivers will continue their battle. 2 great battles inside the top 5 for position right now, Josh.
Yeah, DeWale was quite smart right now. He peeked out just to put a little bit more air across his front wing as we have a battle here for the 9th and 8th position. That is Andrew Burrell in the purple Clemson machine. Trying to get around Isan Bisson from Beloit College. These two drivers going at it. But yeah, Zach DeWale, pretty smart to put air. You really don't want to be having a car right in front of you through that high-speed turn. Famously, F1 fans will remember Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
The Verstappen-Hamilton incident, yep.
And yeah, very exciting, but you really want to carry your momentum. That's not the passing zone. The passing zone is where we've seen these drivers attempt so much up at the top of the hill. But let's not get carried away from the battle there. So Andrew Williams, this is your Clemson car on board and looks like peeking out. Actually peeking out quite early. I wonder if Andrew Williams had a bad exit right there. But yeah, by the start-finish line, the pass is done. And was it too soon? Because now neck and neck as we go into the corner. Yeah, pretty good defense from the 23. He'll try and hold his competitor down off the line. But yeah, not much doing as we see the University of Minnesota does, in fact, complete the pass. This group is running Minnesota, Ball State, IUPUI, Clemson University. Going to look to try and get around their side by side, but pretty sure that the 0-2 right now in St. Clair College had the advantage. You want to be on the inside in this position. 3 wide, trying to be 3 wide. And how will this end for all 5 drivers? 2 by 2. Looks like Clemson a little bit wide in their battle. And around Ball State. Cale Davidson is around. The other 2 remain going. That's IUPUI in Minnesota trying to go on, but right here, still side by side. Can he keep his wing in? It is Andrew from Clemson. He's trying to make that orange wheeled machine get to the front, a little bit shallow into that turn, Zach. Not sure if that's my line, but it looks like that's the defense he's going to take. And for a couple more seconds, he's got some space.
Yeah, great battle there. And I think a mistake from Davidson is we're going to take a look at this replay. You can see 3 wide going into turn 4 between these drivers. Cohen Evans actually backed out, and I think Davidson may have outbraked himself. Yeah, just carried a little too much speed through the center of that corner. And with the apex being downhill, it's very easy to upset the car with the weight distribution. And I know that because I've done it more than once. I did it a couple times in the race last fall, but it's a very tricky corner and unfortunate for Davidson, but nice that he was able to get that car straightened out and continue, and didn't really lose any much positions yet. He's only back to 7th, lost the position to Diamond, but is in a battle for that 6th spot as now Williams is able to overtake DeWale for that position, and Williams goes around. Was that Williams? Yes. Williams is in the wall coming out of turn 1. He's going to rejoin. Going to have to see if there's any aero damage to that machine, and it looks like he is slow. He will concede another position to Alex Diamond and maybe Cale Davison as well, and now the tides have turned in that battle for 6th place overall.
Yeah, it has, and a number of battles going on. You can see here, this is where that Clemson machine gets in. We talked about same thing. That rear end just steps out ever so slightly, and once it does, very hard to correct. I don't even know if he hit anything. Zach, good on him, keeping that car in the right direction out of the wall, but yeah, not quite what you want there in the battle. But these drivers have to be so on edge to try and compete at this level. And Zach, how about the racecraft from these drivers? We've seen an infinite number of moves here in the first race. But these drivers doing a really good job, and also, they have to figure out, they have to calculate where the other cars are going to be around them. They've been doing so quite correctly, I might add. They've had very few touches tonight, if any. But yeah, everybody behaving quite well, but absolute battle on track. It's the final race of the season, and these drivers want to end on a high note. So you can see there, this battle now. Yeah, we knew this was going to happen with these two having their own excursions. Now we have a battle between Clemson and Ball State, and you can be sure, Zach, that this one will go down to the conclusion of the race. Looks like at Ball State we'll have the draft and the advantage down into turn 1. How will the 23 defend? And not so much. And maybe that Ball State machine just waiting to make that move, Zach.
Yeah, and that's something that we've seen from Davidson all night, is patience. He's waited for the moves as they've come to him. But speaking of moves being made, this is IUPUI on St. Clair College. Cohen Evans to the inside of Zach DeWale. They're almost going to touch wheels through turn 4. DeWale goes wide, and Evans is going to make off with that position for the time being. But here comes Lucas Santos looking to the right side of these two drivers. He got a great exit to turn 5, as now he is side by side with DeWale in this battle for the 2nd position, as now Jordan Johnson has checked out to a 10.5-second lead over the field while all of this battling has been happening behind him. So Johnson is thankful for these battles, and so are we watching this race, as Santos is going to lose out on that battle to DeWale for the time being. Cohen Evans able to take away P2 also for the time being, but that will surely change as they come back out onto the front stretch. The pit straightaway for the next time, running on coming to lap 11 of 13, so they'll get the 3 to go this time by from Barney in this first sprint race of our Brazilian Grand Prix. Both drivers behind Evans lining up their shot. Santos more so on DeWale. Both of them going to move to the very inside of the track. It looks like DeWale's going to stick to the inside to try and force Santos all the way to the bottom. Goes Santos as DeWale moves up to the high side. Santos with the suboptimal line going into turn 1. But he's still going to get alongside DeWale as they come through turn 2, and DeWale is going to use that inside line to his advantage and retain that 3rd and final podium position in sprint race number 1.
Yeah, he does, but the University of Minnesota has a great opportunity here when they get up to the top of the hill. Don't know if he'll wait till then. Yeah, that's maybe not how I would have done it. There's some contact right there, Zach. I don't see a 4X on my screen, so we'll say that it was a game of inches. But yeah, I probably would have waited to get to the top of the hill. In trouble there. That is Alexander Diamond. That's the Drexel University car, and that is the second loop for Cale Davidson right there. And you can see him take that car to the garage, and Cale Davidson surely not happy about that. Yeah, right here in this battle, this group being led right here by Clemson, and that is the 23 car that we saw earlier. So these two trying to get around, and right here, not sure actually what the 11 was looking for there, because that's not a time to be braking, Zach. That's the time to be on the gas. So that weight should be transferred to the rear there by the time he gets to the apex. Maybe he thought that Andrew Williams from Clemson was going to do a surprise, but nonetheless, yeah, but a bit of a surprise there from the Drexel driver, and surely Ball State not happy with that result, and yeah, looking like maybe a big Formula Ford now. Running around this track. But see a lot of orange there at the top of the tower. You can see Jason Wallet. He's trying to put that other Drexel University, 2 cars in this event, around the Robert Morris University. That's Tyler Klingensmith that we've mentioned so much this season, this battle for the 11th position right here. Outside, can he get a run? Oh, he had a good line, but maybe felt a little bit of slip in the rear end as he corrected, and not sure that he had much advantage by the time he got to the exit of that corner in that Drexel machine. But here we go, Zach, down into the turn. It is Cohen Evans who is trying to defend from Zach DeWale. This for the 2nd position. And outside, Zach DeWale, he's going to try to keep the momentum. And big touch right there. Excuse me, no touch, but just trying to keep everybody's spacing consistent, we'll say. And the University of Minnesota taking advantage of that, Zach.
Yeah, DeWale and St. Clair College are going to hold on to that 2nd position. Well, they're going to take away that 2nd position for the time being, as now Lucas Santos maybe thought about a lunge to the inside of Cohen Evans and IUPUI, thought better of it, focused on the better exit out of turn 6 turn 7 that time by. But it looks like to no avail, as these drivers are once again single file through the technical sector, as this will open up back out onto the final stretch before our pit straight, as they will get the 1 to go this time by. Lap 13 of 13 for these drivers. It is currently Jordan Johnson in the lead, and he will supposedly win this race with a 13-second gap, barring any unforeseen incidents. And it is Zach DeWale, Cohen Evans, Lucas Santos, but that's not going to stay like that for very long, as here comes Cohen Evans to the outside of Zach DeWale, down the pit straight across the start-finish line. One more time to go around this track for these drivers, and it looks like Santos is going to elect to take the top with Evans going into turn 1 that time by. No challenges from any of these drivers on any positions up ahead. They know that this is the last lap. There is a huge points differential from 4th to 3rd and from 3rd to 2nd, as now Cohen Evans looking all over the back bumper of that St. Clair machine, going all the way to the inside of the track, as now Evans is going to leap to the outside. Santos goes behind him. They are 2 abreast, and a clump of 3 through turns 4 and 5. Evans still to the outside of DeWale. He will have the preferred line going into turn 8, as Santos is trying to make a move. He wants to figure out who he's going with, but he's going to have the full racing line to his use, but plenty of dirty air is going to keep him from speeding up, as now Evans is going to make away with that 2nd position for the time being, and DeWale now in danger of losing out on the podium position entirely, throws a block on Lucas Santos and will retain 3rd. But we're going to see if these positions change by the time they come to the end of this lap. Jordan Johnson has won sprint race number 1, as he will come down the pit straight for the final time to secure the checkered flag. But we're going to keep an eye on this battle for 2nd place. It is Evans, DeWale, and Santos one more time through turn 12, up through 13, 14, and 15 on the pit straightaway. It's DeWale now to the inside of Santos. Santos makes the move to the outside. DeWale throws the block. They are going to be neck and neck across the line for the final podium position. DeWale has the inside line. Santos has the run. Here's it going to be coming to the line. I believe it is DeWale will secure the final podium spot in sprint race number 1 behind Cohen Evans with a heroic effort about halfway through the lap. He will secure 2nd place, and that is Drew Williams, who will bring home 5th position and falls behind Lucas Santos, who finished 4th in that battle for overall 6th position. There's Andrew Burrell doing some victory wiggles. A good race for him as he finishes 6th. There's the battle for the 9th position. The 10th position. This is Jason Wallet looking on Tyler Klingensmith. Once again to the line. It's side by side. That one is too close to call, but I think the position went to Klingensmith and Robert Morris University. Athena Leclerc will cross the line 11th, looking at Nick Stockner, who had an incident early on in lap 1 of this race, recovered from that spin, and he will finish 12th.
Yeah, Zach, we got to catch our breath here. But wow, what a race. And yeah, Jason Wallet probably not too upset to come out in that result, because he will be our pole sitter for the next one.
One thing to come out of the steward's booth towards the end of that race, a 15-second time penalty for Clemson's Andrew Burrell for causing an incident with avoidable contact. So he will finish a little further back on the field in sprint race number 2. But one thing to keep in mind, those time penalties, due to the nature of iRacing, do not affect the invert for sprint race number 2. So just a reminder, if you finish first in sprint race number 1, as Jordan Johnson did, you will start 10th in sprint race number 2. And if you finish 10th, you will start on pole for sprint race number 2.
And we talked about one of those drivers in that mix you saw was University of Minnesota, Lucas Santos. We'll get a chance to hear from him pretty soon.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lucas Santos. I'm the driver for the number 5 University of Minnesota Twin Cities machine and the Formula College Championship. I'm a freshman here at the University of Minnesota pursuing a major in computer science, and I'm also a first year here at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities Detachment 415 in Air Force ROTC. Hopefully becoming a second lieutenant once I commission after graduation as either a pilot of any aircraft type or role, an air battle manager, a drone pilot, or even going into the intelligence field. In addition to sim racing that you guys have seen in all these broadcasts, I love playing the electric guitar. I love designing liveries with my team, Screeching Moose Motorsports. I'm also an endurance driver for them in the Virtual Sports Car Association and all iRacing special events. I'm also always playing video games with my friends or hanging out with friends and family, and also flying planes. I'm currently trying to pursue my private pilot's license here in Minnesota. So see you guys out on track, and thank you.
And that was Lucas Santos, driver of that Gopher machine. We know him as a strong marathon runner, really talented in that regard and in racing as well. But a lot of these drivers getting ready now for the upcoming event. It being the final race of the semester for these drivers, have a couple graduates as well. Also enjoy the ability to have academics and have motorsports as well. So really exciting for these drivers to be able to compete and do everything that they get to do. It's super exciting. You can see there the amount of brain power that's going on alongside this horsepower. So congrats to all our graduating groups and graduating teams and drivers as well from those schools. In fact, so Alexander Diamond from Jex University, going to see him a little bit later tonight in the second heat as well. But Zach, we got some good racing action coming up. So what are we thinking for this second heat? I can't imagine it would be more tough than the first.
That's a great question to ask our Sprint Race 1 winner, Jordan Johnson, on his return to the CIL, coming back for, I guess, a fun race this season. We saw you smack the field pretty solidly with a 14-second win. Congratulations on your Sprint Race 1 win. Good to have you back up here in the booth with us. What was it like out there on track, just kind of driving all by yourself up there at the front?
Race car? To be honest, there wasn't too much. As soon as Andrew and Zach started fighting, I mean, it was kind of over once I draft. It's really was just keep it together, which I almost didn't. Sometimes I'm just really kind of trying to feel things out for the car again. I haven't driven it since, March, if that, February, late February, something like that, since the last time I ran in the Skip Barber Formula iRacing series. So just trying to not make a big mistake. That's really all.
Well, with the invert, you're going to be starting 10th for sprint race number 2, but we have no doubt that you can make your way up to the front of the field. What's it going to be like navigating? What do you think it's going to be like navigating that traffic on a track as tough as Interlagos?
I think as long as you stay out of trouble, you're going to be mostly fine. That's the tricky part, though. There's a lot of corners where it's easy to overshoot and go off, hit someone. But it's really just stay alive. The draft will keep you in touch with pretty much everyone, and then even without that, I think I can catch anyone that might be leading a train as long as they're not getting a big push.
Well, we see the timer has run out in our warm-up session, so we're going to let you go and get ready to race. Congratulations again on your Sprint Race 1 victory, and hopefully we'll see you back up here in the booth.
Sounds good. Thank you. See you soon.
And as for that, let's go ahead and jump into our starting grid for sprint race number 2, an invert of our finishing race from invert of our finishing positions from sprint race number 1 in the top 10. Jason Wallet wins pole position for Drexel University. Tyler Klingensmith for Robert Morris will start second. Nick Patinella, his teammate, will start third on row number 2 to the inside of Christian Hill from Mount St. Mary's. Andrew Burrow from Clemson University will start fifth, and he's got a teammate, Andrew Williams, to his outside in sixth place. Lucas Santos, who we just heard from, will start seventh for Minnesota's University of Minnesota. Zach DeWale from St. Clair College starts 8th, Cohen Evans 9th, and Jordan Johnson will roll off 10th, who we just heard from as well. And I believe I see all the cars on the grid. The drivers are fired. We are ready to roll for sprint race number 2. Waiting for the command and lights on. As we are ready to go and the lights are out and Barney throws the green, we are racing for sprint race number 2 here at Brazil. Jason Wallet did not get a good start as he's going to fall into the clutches of Tyler Klingensmith to the inside, who's going to take Christian Hill with him in that third spot. But here comes Nick Patinella to the outside, or excuse me, the inside of turn 2. He's going to get relegated to the outside of turn 3. We saw the move from Hill to defend a late block, and I do not believe Patinella will be happy about that as they're going to go single file for the time being. Down the back straightaway for the first time, Drew Williams to the inside. He's going to change that look to the outside as we have a battle for the lead. Once again, Jason Wallet goes way wide, loses control of the car, and that is Williams who has spun at the back of the field. Wallet regains control of his car but loses a ton of positions, will drop down to the 7th position and is at risk of losing more as Klingensmith inherits the lead, but he is still under fire from Christian Hill, looking to the outside for the first time into the technical sector as they are 3 wide into turn 8 for the first time. A little bit of a lockup, maybe some contact for the lead as Christian Hill gets a nose out front. Tyler Klingensmith to the inside. Here comes Johnston to the outside. He had an incredible start. He might go from 10th to 1st in the first lap, but he's got Christian Hill to go through for the time being. It's Lucas Santos slotting into the 3rd position. Right now, here's Klingensmith and DeWale going at it for P4. Tons of carnage and chaos inside the top 10 as we are not through with this yet. Look at that pack of cars battling for the 4th position. Now it's Christian Hill over Jordan Johnson. We're going to see if Johnson makes a move on the lead, looking off the back bumper of Klingensmith towards Zach DeWale. Here's DeWale to the inside, but the battle for the lead heats up. It's Johnson inside of Christian Hill. And I believe Johnson is not quite going to get the lead, but he's got the bumper above into turn 1, and he has done it. He has gone from 10th to 1st in 1 lap.
Yeah, quite the start from that Kent State machine right there, Mount St. Mary's. You can see that Simfly machine in 2nd position. IUPUI, another driver that we saw making his way up through the field. You can see that Drexel machine behind him. That is Jason Wallet, who's going to try to come back from that tough pole starting position. A lot of these drivers, as you can see, quite busy as we see only orange and yellow up and down the scoring tower on your left. But these drivers, St. Clair College looking around to see a move. Yeah, wouldn't want to give up too much room to Ball State there. Cale Davidson is going to be looking to make some progress. Get around that 61 machine of Athena Leclerc. Right now, Lucas Santos still working on Christian Hill for the 2nd position of this race. That's going to be a hotly contested position as well. A little bit of wiggle from the Jaguar machine as Cohen is trying to get the now the 61 is everybody struggling for traction. Can Cohen take the good line and keep some momentum into this corner? I think he can. Doesn't quite hit the apex, leaving just enough room for his competition, but right there, really good, smart move from those guys. And I will say as well, Christian Hill, Lucas Santos, Zach, I expected the leader to pull away, but he has not done so. But here we go, almost 3 wide, not quite. Andrew Burrell thinks differently of it. James Madison University now is in the middle of Clemson, and Drew Williams trying to push Jason Wallet if you can with the Carbon Fiber F4 machine around the outside. Will it be 4 wide as we get up here to the stripe? These drivers, Drexel, who does he go to defend? Looks like Drew Williams is going to have himself a hole on the outside of this. James Madison University and Matt Stawecki in that 62 purple and white F4 car. 3 wide into the corner. Andrew Burrell still leading this 4-pack. And Clemson University, Andrew, really good. Drew Williams move carried his momentum around that JMU machine and now has a little bit of space in front as we go back to the lead. Battles all over the place, and Minnesota really trying to work on this machine right here. You can see Kent State pulling out a little bit of a gap. as this battle rages on. But University of Minnesota and Mount St. Mary's University battling pretty hard. This is going to be something that we see all race long, Zach. But these drivers are going to have to negotiate. Yeah, you can see it right there, running a little bit wide. That's Lucas Santos. He's trying to maintain that car, keep those tires under him. Little bit early to start heating up your tires. 10 laps to go in this 13-lap race, but look who's coming. Cale Davidson, as well as that IUPUI and Jaguar machine. And we'll see if Athena Leclerc can keep that St. Clair car in position. We know she's had pace this year as well. And let's not forget about the two Robert Morris machines in the top 6, Tyler Klingensmith and Nick Patnella running P5 and P6. Look at that. We'll call it a DRS train minus the DRS and a spin. That's a spin from one of the Robert Morris cars. That was Nick Patnella. He'll try to get that car turned around correctly, but up at the front, big battle as Cale Davidson tries to get around that 65 of Klingensmith. Will he be left room? Not sure. He'll pull out here at the pit straight and nearly makes contact with the car and the tires on the inside. Meanwhile, a new fastest lap for your leader, Kent State University, down to the inside. You can see Athena Leclerc trying to hold her inside position on this corner, but now on the outside for this long, sweeping, increasing speed left-hander. Ball State University, nowhere to go, but he'd love to get a move on. He's going to look now. Will it be three wide?
Yes.
Into the corner.
They are 3 wide down the back straightaway here on lap 4. That's Leclerc, Davidson to the inside, and Klingensmith stuck in the middle of all that, and a huge crash at the back of the pack. Multiple drivers involved, more spinners. That's 2 Clemson cars. I think that was Stockner and excuse me, Williams involved. I think I saw Jason Wallet involved in that as well. Cohen Evans also a part of that incident. He was battling with Athena Leclerc trying to secure his third place overall in the student championship. He did beat Leclerc in the first sprint race, so advantage goes to Evans, but it is still going to be very hard for Leclerc to beat Evans. But if Evans is finishing towards the back of the pack out of the points, Leclerc is in prime position to strike as she gets really loose coming out of turn 10 that time by, and that's going to let Davidson go by for the 5th position. But they've got to keep their sights in their mirrors as she is once again able to get around Davidson. But Davidson is going to get to the inside of Leclerc through turns 14 and 15 one more time. Davidson has Leclerc cleared off of the exit of turn 12. But Leclerc gets the toe down the front straightaway. She's going to look to the outside. Good defense from Cale Davidson going into turn 1. Who's going to be heavier on the brakes? Looks like they're both going to try and outbrake each other or maybe play it safe as Leclerc is going to retain that inside line through turn 2 but be relegated to the outside for turn 3. This long sweeping left-hander as it looks like these 2 drivers have pulled away from the 2 behind them.
Yeah, and this is Christian Hill right here, who did give up that position previously to the University of Minnesota and has just recently given up that position to St. Clair College. St. Clair College still now trying to work on Ball State, who maintained a momentum through the first set of corners there. And yeah, that's going to be just about the way to defend here in turn 1 as we see 3 wide. Andrew Burrow, Clemson wide, Drexel University in the middle trying to make his way around a slow Robert Morris University car. Clemson again has another car out to the right, and Zach, we've seen these cars have been completing just about under a blanket all race long. But Andrew Burrow going to see if he can try and catch the drivers in front. Looks like Robert Morris coming around the outside and Nick Patnella trying to look around his teammate, Klingensmith, and big slow. Andrew Burrow slow on track. Not sure if that was planned, but yeah, Burrow slow right there, relinquishes those positions and nearly a bit of excitement for that group of 3 drivers. But right now you can see Christian Hill still has a little bit of draft to Zach DeWale. Zach DeWale right now is St. Clair College. They've got their sights set on that Gopher machine. That's that big yellow and red. That's the Lucas Santos machine, your student driver this evening. So down into turn 1 again, Christian Hill, we know he's no stranger to these open wheel machines. Has a decent bit of pace himself. Also a bit of pace, but was sucked up in that opening race. Excitement was IUPUI. So right there, IUPUI and the Jaguar car trying to leap their way around Nick Stockner, another Clemson machine. So those drivers are going to have to navigate their time as they go here tonight. And look into the inside, wasn't quite having it. Nick Stockner with a solid line, a little bit of defense. And now here's the run into everybody's favorite corner, Zach. Nick Stockner is going to choose to defend the inside. That's probably the correct answer. IUPUI's only hope is to just carry the momentum around the outside, try and be in position coming up here. We'll see if he can do it. Looks like he'll didn't even use an off track. And Cohen Evans able to keep that car around the outside. Now he's in a great position to go up to the top of the hill here, and he'll want to get this pass done, Zach, because look who's entering the frame.
Yeah, and right as those two are side by side, you said it best. Here comes Jason Wallet, hungry for some more positions for Drexel. Has a big lockup for Stockner, and he goes around in turn 8. And this, oh my goodness, as he rejoins right in front of Tyler Klingensmith. And I'm sure the stewards will not be happy about that one, and neither will Klingensmith or James Madison University. As we're going to take another look at this incident, it looks like Stockner may have just over-rotated the car or out-braked himself. There's the switchback. What a beautiful crossover move from Stockner. And yeah, just locks the brakes into the corner, loops that car around, and I guess just didn't pay attention as you see that 72 Robert Morris machine come around, and those two make contact, and I believe that will ultimately end the race for both of those drivers, as we do have now 5 retirements out of this race. Sean Bassine, Matt Stowecki, Andrew Williams, Andrew Burrell, all involved in that massive incident a couple laps ago, and now Tyler Klingensmith, and we're going to see if Stockner can limp it back to the pits, although he will surely, that was Pat Nella coming into the pits that was involved in that incident, not Klingensmith. So both of those Robert Morris drivers are out of the race, and somebody was crab walking into the pits right there. That did not look like a car that was wanting to go straight at all. But I do see no front wing on the front. That's Nick Patinella. I didn't see a front wing on that Clemson machine of Stockner, and I'm sure the stewards and race control are not going to be happy about that, so they will probably show him a meatball to come into the pits and get that fixed.
Yeah, in race control, looks like the 124 car did receive a black flag. So that'll be his to do before this race ends. But yeah, shades of Monza for Formula One fans. That was not the rejoin that we were looking for. But back to some of the action. These drivers, a little bit calmer now. Maybe if only for a moment, Zach. Being able to come through, and we'll have an opportunity to cool their tires down. You see Christian Hill is still trying to make that work. Looks like the closest on our relative to Zach DeWale right now. And he's going to try and get in the corner, and these drivers are going to try and carry their momentum. We know the 0-2, pretty stout, short track, and oval driver in general, but is really, really coming to his own, this season and through the inception of the F4 series here at CIL. Zach DeWale has really represented St. Clair College in a really fast and professional manner. Right here, Christian Hill trying to be a little bit bold on the brakes, but yeah, you give up so much. Both cars going wide, actually, but yeah, you give up so much when you're so late on the brakes. And again, not really the place you want to do that. You want to be in position here, and I would say that Hill is probably a little bit far back to do anything with this sector of the track on this particular lap 8. But yeah, that'll be something that he hopefully puts in his notebook, and that's what he wants to do in that area.
3 notes coming out of race control. The stewards, 3 time penalties. One goes to Tyler Klingensmith, who will receive a 15-second time penalty for avoidable contact. Nick Stockner has been hit with a 25-second time penalty, 15 for avoidable contact, and 10 for an unsafe rejoin. And I believe Stockner has been disqualified from this race with that black flag. So unfortunately for Stockner, maybe emotions got the best of him, or wasn't paying attention to the relatives like we said, but unsafe rejoins, especially when they involve another driver, these are matters that the stewards don't take lightly, because you not only ruin your race but somebody else's. But we are going to turn our attention back towards the track. The action on track. Christian Hill still all over the back bumper of Zach DeWale, and you see Lucas Santos just slightly in the distance exiting as all these drivers exit turn 3. Hill's got the toe down the back straightaway. He looks to the inside. Doesn't look like DeWale is going to put up much of a defense as he concedes the preferred line to Hill, who will make off with that position. A beautifully executed overtake into turn 4, but we're going to see how that changes as they come uphill towards turns 5, 6, 7, and 8. This battle is going to heat up as Lucas Santos, Jordan Johnson now with a 5, almost 6-second lead over the rest of the field as these drivers behind him are battling. And then Lucas Santos in second place right now. This is the battle, I guess you could call it, for second now that all these drivers have introduced themselves. Santos a little slower than these two behind, but he will surely prove hard to pass as we've seen in previous races. This is Christian Hill looking at his back bumper, but he's got Zach DeWale and St. Clair College behind him. A little further on in the back of the field, Cale Davidson now has a 3-second lead over Athena Leclerc, with a 6-second lead over Alex Diamond, Cohen Evans, and Jason Wallet. Currently, only 9 cars running on track right now. This has been a chaotic finale to our Spring 2023 Formula C season, and I don't think we would have wanted it any other way for the broadcast and for you at home. Plenty of action on track, slips, trips, and spills, and plenty of great battles through both of these sprint races as these drivers got the 4 to go from Barney that time by.
They did, and so these drivers are going to be using a little bit less restraint, maybe more reminiscent of the first heat here. But Christian Hill, again, in the middle, he's got an opportunity here to move on that Minnesota car, but you probably don't want to have too much exposure to the car behind you. That would not be so good because that St. Clair car, we know, DeWale, pretty quick in this event. But right here, the train of 3, and I've seen a couple times that the 085 may have had an opportunity to move out, and I think he's kind of taking his notebook right now and he's waiting for the final couple laps of the race as they touch right here, and big touch, very light on the brakes. All 3 synchronized spinning. I see a front wing. Who can get going fast enough? Of course, everybody trying to slip through the grass. Cale Davidson and Ball State University love this. They've just taken second. Christian Hill, looks like that was his wing, and the 61 car, actually, Athena Leclerc, has made an opportunity of this. So your running order was Santos got underway first. Hill was there in 4th position, and will now be under fire from Athena Leclerc. That car will be handicapped for Mount St. Mary's because it does not have the front downforce, especially as it tries to come onto this long front stretch right here, and now some extra drag as well. So Zach DeWale, we can see he's about 2 seconds behind all this, perhaps the loser in that event. And yeah, right here, 61 car, not going to be much of a race. This St. Clair College, the pass completed before the pit tire wall has started. But wow, what a move! And this 085 didn't see a lot of tire smoke, didn't see a lot of lockup. Maybe just trying to get in there. We have seen where he's tried to drive in a little bit deep at times. And so right there, the 085, moving into position and a little bit too much so. And yeah, almost escaped there was Lucas Santos. But yeah, that's got to be tough right there. Yeah, that was all it took. And really fast on the reactions from Lucas. He saw that coming and nowhere, of course, for the 0-2 to go. But yeah, a lot of rejoins to be had tonight.
It almost feels like we got to count the cars that are still running. It'd be easier to count those than the ones that have retired out of the race. You can see 9th on back. All scored is not active on the track. Jason Wallet, the last car running, in 8th position. So if you finish the race, you are guaranteed points tonight as we're on lap 11 of 13, 2 to go when they come to the line this time by. This is Lucas Santos, who was involved in that incident earlier. He's got a 2-second gap from him to Davidson up ahead, but Jordan Johnson, once again, actually, he just ran the fastest lap of the race on lap 11. I believe that's a 34 and change for him as he's opened up a 14.5+ second lead over second place Cale Davidson. Although a considerable portion of that lead he can thank due to that incident involving Davidson, DeWale, and Hill a couple laps prior. But not seeing any orange or yellow on the track to the side, so it looks like maybe these drivers are going to settle in and just try to bring it home and finish the season strong.
Yeah, and I'm looking up on top of the tower right now, so that certainly did shake things up as some drivers had to come off and some drivers now off the pace. But here in the next couple laps, well, with 2 laps to go, there's not a ton of time left, Zach, but I think we can root for, or we can observe Lucas Santos may close that gap. Athena Leclerc may close the gap that she has to Lucas Santos. I do wonder, Alex Diamond is going to have a pretty good shot here to get a top 5, and he'd love to do that. And that could come down to the wire here because Christian Hill, we know a little bit aggressive, as we've seen tonight even. He may want to defend that position as they come to the white flag, though. It's going to be a pretty good opportunity for this Drexel University team to finish the season with a 5th position, which would be awesome for these drivers, especially with Wallet's earlier spin tonight and the progress that these drivers have made over the season 7 here in CIL. In FC, they'd love to do that. So time will tell. That gap now under a second. You can see we follow along as these drivers try and carry as much momentum. A little bit far from the apex right there, but Diamond trying to come on to this long straight. These cars flat out, as we said at the top of the show, and down into turn 1. This is where the 085 will not excel. Zach, they've got one more lap to make this pass.
One more lap in the spring 2023 Formula College World Championship. Christian Hill without a front wing going to try and defend against Alex Diamond. Alex Diamond in his last CIL race as a student graduating from Drexel University going to try and bring it home inside the top 5. Christian Hill's got a rear view mirror full of that blue and yellow Drexel machine as he's going to look to the inside. Hill's got the aero damage. He's not going to have a good time and struggle as Diamond is going to easily clear him to work his way in the top 5 one last time through these corners as Diamond goes a little bit off track, but looking towards the front, it is Jordan Johnson who will win sprint race number 2. You can see him coming down the final straightaway into turn 12 and back out onto the pit straight. Jordan Johnson in his return to the CIL, last season's champion, comes back for the championship race one more time in the season. Down the pitch straight for the final time this season, it is going to be Jordan Johnson and Kent State University who wins sprint race number 2 in the Brazilian Grand Prix.
That was Kent State University to victory lane. Following up now is Ball State University, and it looks like the running order still the same. Santos going to bring that Minnesota machine home in 3rd place. Athena Leclerc going to be the first to miss the podium in that St. Clair machine. Alex Diamond gets his 5th place finish there on your screen. He's coming across now. In fact, Athena Leclerc, this field's so spread out. Leclerc and St. Clair College coming across the line now. And now we have Alex Diamond, as we said, and Christian Hill going to cross the line for those positions. So these drivers going to finish out and embark on their cool-down lap. But, man, no shortage of action. And what a drive, what an opening from a couple drivers from about 9th to 2nd in the first lap was the University of Minnesota, Lucas Santos. Obviously, from 10th to 1st in about 1.1 laps, a lap and a turn, was your winner, Kent State University's Jordan Johnson. That school, pretty proud to have that driver behind the wheel at the moment. And yeah, a couple of these drivers again. St. Clair College, not surprised at all, Zach, that St. Clair College and that 61 machine in 4th place. In fact, the highest score after Zach DeWale's incident, highest scoring St. Clair car, Athena Leclerc. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal second heat to this evening, and absolutely phenomenal conclusion to this season 7 of FC. Could not have scripted it better myself, Zach.
Yeah, what a season we had. We had the pilot last fall, and we saw some great action as Jordan Johnson was able to best Alif to the title by 3 points. But Alif responds this season and takes the title for himself. But Jordan Johnson comes into the last race of the season and wins both sprint races during Alif's absence. We'll talk more about that in a couple of minutes during our post-race show. But we are going to wait for these drivers to come get out of their cars and join us in the booth for some interviews as Jordan Johnson with some massive victory wiggles through. I think he's going to try and do the Kyle Larson spin the thing around the whole track victory strat. But he is really enjoying his time out there celebrating the victory for himself in Kent State.
Well, he should be, Zach. We were so focused on all 30 battles going on the track that, yeah, we didn't get to have our 31st camera pointed at that car. But Kent State University and your winner, Jordan Johnson, flawless drive, masterclass, My second monitor, every other lap he did, said it was his fastest lap. So that car just came to him and never really went away.
Let's take a look one last time this season at your final results from Sprint Race 2 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. To the victor goes the spoils, and make it double for Jordan Johnson from Kent State University. He brings home a huge points haul for himself and his team in the last race of the season, and only race of the season. Cale Davidson from Ball State finishes second once again. Another good points payout for him. He will secure second place overall on the podium in the student championship with that finish. Third place goes to Lucas Santos from Minnesota Twin Cities, who will beat Drew Williams to that sixth spot in the student championship. Athena LeClaire will finish fourth both tonight and in the student championship as well, just missing the podium for St. Clair College, but a great drive and a great season for that driver. She's done well. Fifth goes to Alex Diamond from Drexel University. Christian Hill finishes sixth for Mount St. Mary's after that incident about halfway through the race. Cohen Evans finishes seventh, and with that will secure the third podium spot overall in the student championship. So congratulations to Cohen Evans and IUPUI on their third place overall finish. Jason Wallet finishes eighth for Drexel University. Zach DeWale finishes ninth for St. Clair College. Tyler Klingensmith and Nick Patinella 10th and 11th for Robert Morris University, respectively. Andrew Burrell finishes 12th for Clemson University. James Madison's Matt Stowecki finishes 13th. Couple of Clemson drivers, Nick Stockner, Andrew Williams, 14th and 15th. Ishan Basine finishes 16th for Beloit College, and Luis Diaz from FIU did not take to the grid for sprint race number 2. And I believe it is time to talk to our podium finishers. First up in the booth, it is Lucas Santos from UMN. Congratulations on your third place finish. We saw the incident. I want to talk to you. Well, first of all, before we get to that, congratulations on finishing your marathon. What an impressive feat. We heard your video during our, I guess you could call it halftime between the two races. So from all of us at the CIL, congratulations on finishing your marathon.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun thing to do with the detachment here. Yeah.
Now, looking at that wreck that we saw with you, DeWale, and Christian Hill about halfway through the race, take us through your perspective on that. What happened, and how did you recover from that to get back up into third place?
Yeah, so the incident itself, my teammates were looking back at it. I was trying to run it through my head while we had like the last 3 laps left. I mean, before the incident happened, I was just trying to defend with all my might. I knew that they had pace. My tires were overheating. Some of us were overdriving some of the corners, and I'm included in that list. And I think it was just a combination of that. Hot tires, a little bit of an overdrive, and then me trying to defend kind of made that incident happen. We'll still see what stewards might say on that, but it's racing. Everybody's a little bit tense when it comes to only 13 lap races as opposed to 60 lap races. And in my head, I was just trying to be like, okay, where can I just get myself an extra minute and a half before the end of the race? So yeah, there's not much really to it other than trying to survive until that corner, and then recovering until third place was just hoping that my engine was fine, because I think I was hitting the back, but there was no visual damage, so that was fine.
Yeah, Lucas, congrats on P3. And we've called 7 races this season, and especially towards the first, like Tsukuba, a lot of times our second monitor would show your car kind of turned around through no fault of your own, simply a matter of luck, being in the wrong spot. But reflect a little bit on this third place finish, finishing out the season. We did enjoy your student pitch very much. All the viewers enjoyed that as well. But yeah, how does it feel to finish the season in third place?
Yeah, ending the season on a high. It would have been great for a second place, but we'll take anything. We know now, in terms of the team, that we have pace with this car. The UMN machine is outstanding when it comes to races, and like what you said, the incidents that happen is just out of pure luck. And so I think the next time that we come back, we're gonna try and manage where we are at the right place at the right time. I think we've practiced that a lot today and tonight at this race at Interlagos, just trying to be there. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but yeah, I think now it gets us into a new mindset of, okay, we got pace. We don't need to worry about that anymore. Let's now just put ourselves into the right positions and the right situations for us. So really good way to end out the season with third.
Yeah, I think we agree, and we're really excited to see what the future holds for you guys as well. Wouldn't be a CIL interview if we didn't ask you if you wanted to give a shout out to anybody at the end.
Awesome. Thank you guys, everybody at the CAL for making such a great community. Every Tuesday, we race here. I just love it. It's a great way to finish out my day of homework. In addition to everybody here at the U, all my recent friends, whether it's cadets, other students, I just love being in this community here, and thank you so much for their support. I don't know if anybody is watching on the stream, but if so, hi. um, and friends, family, especially, the amount of trust that they've given me to, do leagues like this and put myself out there. Thank you so much for everybody's support. Operation Motorsport, Moto Emotions, Sports Car Travel, Apex V2R, Screeching Moose Motorsports, everybody on the car. Thank you so much for all the support, and hopefully we'll be able to be back here next season.
Yeah, and no doubt, Lucas, all your supporters have placed their trust well. Congratulations on P3. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, Zach, that was a pretty grateful Lucas Santos and from the University of Minnesota. Yeah, I would be too. We have talked a couple times and perhaps enough about the run of luck that he had at the outset of this season, and he's put together a few heats coming into Interlagos, and you love to see it finishing out that third place to finish the season.
Yeah, definitely. And he is one of the most high energy drivers on the grid, always has a positive outlook. He's such a joy to be around. Always love having him in the booth and hanging out with him, especially on track. He is incredible in these race cars. And it showed tonight. He was able to, in his own words, finish the season on a high. So, congratulations to Lucas and Minnesota Twin Cities. And I believe that will move us into our second place finisher, Cale Davidson of Ball State University. Congratulations on not only the second place finish in this sprint race, but on P2 overall in the student championship for Formula C. So it's a Ball State lockout on the top of the podium between Alif and yourself. So congratulations on a great drive tonight, but also on a great season overall.
Thank you.
So we saw the carnage and the chaos out on track, plenty of incidents, and we saw you inherit second place on a silver platter after that incident with the three drivers up in front of you battling for second. But take us through the start of the race and kind of everything leading up until that point. We saw plenty of close quarters action. Take us through the driver's mind as you were trying to navigate that.
So yeah, obviously I was kind of start the whole session qualifying, didn't go well. I couldn't get a good lap down. And then basically the first race also did not go as well either. And then I ended up getting DQ'd for having like too many incident points and such. So it kind of just started out with not such a great start. So I ended up gridding 15th going into that second heat race. So I knew I had definitely a lot of ground to make up. And kind of going off last race, all the little contacts and like small mistakes I was making, I just decided to block those out and basically tone it down. And doing so, I was able to just like do some consistent lap times. I was definitely battling back and forth with Athena. We were having a good run there, and I was hoping that she would get that third podium spot at the end. But basically, it was just focusing on not losing the cars in front of you, so you can kind of get a draft off that. But I realized my car was definitely faster through corners. So even though I wasn't getting as much drafting as I kind of wish because the cars were so much farther ahead, I was able to catch up to them kind of going through corners, and that definitely helped me make up a lot of ground.
Yeah, Kel, awesome job on the P2 finish tonight. Across the whole season, you guys, Ball State, the Ball State drivers on the FC side have really made a statement this season and have been fun to watch. But is there any room for improvement in the future?
I definitely do think that there is a lot of room for improvement because this is my first time racing this series. I had to buy the car and I had to buy 4 tracks just this season alone just to compete. And personally, I know I have a lot more room for like improvement, especially having a Leaf next to me. I don't know if he has a lot room for improvement, but he has taught me so much really like this whole season, and that's kind of one of the biggest reasons I think that he's taught me so much and I put in the work, and just combining those two together has just excelled the season.
Well, I think we concur. It has been a certified delight to watch you guys, both in your racecraft and in your raw pace this season. But is there anybody before we send you out that you want to give a thanks and a shout out to?
Yeah, so obviously want to shout out my parents, my mom, my dad. I know I said this one last time, shout out to my girlfriend, but then also shout out to Alif. He is next to me. He's practicing, he leaves for Italy for another race, but he's next to me. He's helped me so much. I want to thank him for everything. And then shout out to basically Dan Marino, the head of our esports here, for making this all possible. And he has just been amazing to work with this whole semester, and just Ball State University and all my family watching.
Well, congratulations, and yeah, we will watch your growing career, Kale, with great interest as we go forward. But absolute excitement on track, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah, Zach. It's the standard response. You're not supposed to say that you've got it all figured out, but the Ball State team as a unit together, I think they have got a pretty good setup.
Yeah, and this is a program that is relatively new to the CIL, actually. They just started racing last season full time, and they have done so well, locking down so many championships in a couple of seasons. They've got a lot of trophies to their name. And I believe Dan Marino, he said, the director of that program, has put together something incredible over there at Ball State. A lot of those drivers work together really well, like Kale said. Alif is very talented. Nice to know that he shares his knowledge with them to help them get faster. But great teamwork coming from that Cardinals esports program. And speaking of Alif, we mentioned earlier that he was not in the race. And like Cale Davidson said, he is preparing to fly to Monza, Italy, for the SRO SimPro World Championship for his team, Flash Axle Sports, in the number 12 machine. And we are working to try. And he said, Davidson said that Alif was practicing right next to him. So we're going to try and see if we can pull some strings and get Alif on for a champions interview. I just got confirmation that yes, he will hop on in just a second. So we will try and do that. But Alif is going to represent both Ball State and the CIL, as well as his team, on an extremely high level of racing. We are very proud of him, and we at the CIL wish him all the best. And let's go ahead and interview tonight's race winner, Jordan Johnson, once again in the booth. This time for sprint race number 2. Give this man a broom because he swept Brazil. We saw you pull out to an early lead, but I want to talk about that first lap run, 10th to 1st, in a lap in a corner. I can't say I have ever seen that before in a race, but how did you do it?
Race car. It's to be honest, it's just judging what the traffic's gonna do. You got to be looking far ahead, and I just read the traffic the right way. I was fortunate enough that I did dive up someone's inside in turn 1 that could have easily ended the race right there, and they were able to clear their spotter in time. Gave me enough room. I gave them enough room. We made it through on a 3 wide in turn 1. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was just clearing where I thought the path of least resistance was going to be. Fortunately, I chose correctly. I did have a little bit of luck coming down to turn 4s. I think one car went wide that might have clogged up a hole coming into the infield section of the track. But just, yeah, a little bit of luck, a little bit of reading the traffic, and kind of all worked out by the end.
Yeah, congratulations on 2 P1s to top of the podiums tonight, Jordan. Walk us through. It was about 80 degrees here in Brazil. We had a bunch of battling throughout, but you were kind of out there on your own. Was there any management to the tires? We were trying to figure this out as your opponents battled amongst themselves. But yeah, standard question: how did the car fare? How did the tires fare? And Was there any management throughout the sessions?
Not really. There's not much. It's not really an endurance race, so with the iRacing model, you don't manage the tires too much. That being said, with the F4 car, it is relatively easy to flash the surface of the tires if you get too big of a slide. Unfortunately, I fell victim to that a few times before. If you get a little bit too much rear locking and coming into a corner, you have no grip for the next 2-3 corners, and it's very easy to just spin it. But aside from if avoiding any secondary mistakes, if you do get a big slide or overcook it into a corner, there's not really much management. The tires actually get better pretty much the entire stint. You can run a full fuel tank and the tires just keep getting hotter and hotter, and they feel great. That's kind of the advantage of these F4 tires with such a hard compound on them. They aren't your F1 tires where they're super soft and they destroy you and overheat after a 10 lap stint. You can really abuse these things as long as you're not trying to lean on them too much for a sequence of corners. You're typically going to make it out quite fine.
You beat me to it. It sounds like Lewis Hamilton wants to know your location, or even the location of these tires, perhaps. But, congrats again on the P1. Is there anyone, Jordan, that you would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, my team, Pearson's Esports, for all the help that they've given me and all the support they've shown me through the past 10 months that I've been with them. Of course, all of our partners and sponsors, SimLab, Cube Controls, FreeM, OEP Esports, and Night Rider Designs for all the support they give our team, making our sim racing dream become a possibility and just allowing us to get a little bit of an edge over everyone else. So I have to thank them, have to thank the team again. Just everyone that's helped me along the way with educating me as a driver and supported me, and hopefully I can continue to prove my worth in the esports scene.
Yeah, congrats, Jordan and Kent State University on a double win tonight. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. You too.
Well, Zach, that was a double winner tonight, Jordan Johnson from Kent State again. And yeah, not much to say there. Absolute class from that driver, and good on pace. You heard not much to think about there with only 13 laps in the race, and it sounded like he could have gone much longer. But yeah, nothing much to clean up there for that machine.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to quote him when he said, "How did you do it, race car?" Uh, that's we talked about CIL T-shirts last night. There's something to put on a T-shirt. Race car, Jordan Johnson. But yeah, great performance for him. I know he had a blast coming back to the CIL and running one of these races. And congratulations to him on both of his sprint races. And I believe the time has come. We have got Muhammad Alif, our Formula C student champion for spring 2023 from Ball State University. Congratulations, Alif. You won it last week, and you took this week to practice for your championship event in Monza. Congratulations, you are officially the champion.
Let's go. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Sorry I couldn't make the race today, but yeah, thank you so much. Feels good. Hello, hello.
Yeah, Leaf, what does it mean with so many sim racers there at Ball State, and so many good results over the season for Ball State, and now with this, what does it mean to have such a big statement this season for yourself and for that Ball State crew?
Oh, definitely a very, very big statement. I think it just goes to show all the work that we've been putting on behind the scenes, and just how well we're trying to work and our targets for the future. So yeah, this is I think second title here in CIL. Hopefully, maybe if we could clinch the other two, would be nice as well. But just happy with this one.
Yeah, Alif, you're one step into a possible hat trick of titles. You got a good shot for the short track series championship next Wednesday night, but also you've made it into the final four last night in our College Cup series. So congratulations on that. Would love to see you do it. It's never been done before. But I got one more question for you. We're not going to keep you too long, but we've seen the success that Ball State as a program has had ever since coming to the CIL, and we heard the praise that you got from Cale Davidson, your teammate. I guess I'm going to ask you the same question. Where is there room for y'all to go up? Is there even any more room for you to go up from here?
100%. You know, I think you can ask any great driver there is if they can improve. The only answer is yes. So for us, there's still so much more to improve. I didn't win all the races this season, so that's one. We could still be better in the ovals. We could still be better in short track. So for sure, you know, there's still so much more to improve because we're all trying to chase perfection, and it's impossible. But you know, the feeling of chasing is always good, and that's how we usually will get better. So that's our plan, and yeah, we'll work hard for it.
Well, we're going to let you go so you can keep practicing for your Sim Pro World Championship at Monza next week. And we wish you the best of luck on that. But before we do, is there anybody you'd like to shout out on your championship, on the top of the championship podium?
Yeah, for sure. My teammates, Kale, Red, Andrew, Cole, Caden, the whole team, basically for all the push and the hard work that we've been putting in. Also, Dan Marino, our esports director, for just facilitating everything, and our dean, Paige Turner, for I think those two were the ones who actually kickstarted the esports program. So just really really grateful for that. And also my sponsors, Team Flash, Next Level Racing, Motorsport Singapore Association, um, and Exo Sports, you know, for all this support. And yeah, looking forward to next season.
And congratulations on your title, and we'll hope you take a moment to celebrate with your team. And best of luck next week at Monza.
Thank you so much.
That was Muhammad Alif. We tried paging Nick Daly, the alumni Formula C champion, this spring to see if we could get him in an interview, but it looks like he is off enjoying vacation with his championship trophy tonight. So congratulations to Daly and the UT and University of Texas at Arlington on their championships, and as well, congrats to Muhammad Alif and Ball State on their titles as well. And Josh, I believe this is going to wrap up our spring 2023 Formula College World Championship. As you heard, Muhammad Alif has clinched the title that eluded him by 3 points last season, and he has won it this season finally in spectacular and dominant fashion. Nick Daly and the University of Texas at Arlington have won the first Formula C alumni individual and college championships, also in dominant fashion. And Formula C this season has produced some immaculate, intense racing, but sadly we'll be taking a break for the summer as our CIL 10 Top Series returns, this time in the brand new Toyota GR86 class. 6 weeks of door-to-door production car action will await our drivers this summer until Formula C returns in the fall. And of course, plans for production on that series are in the works, so stay tuned to the CIL Twitters to learn how you can follow our GR86 Cup over the summer. And while we're talking about future races, next week is a busy one yet again in the CIL. We are in championship mode. On Monday night, we will crown our first ever College Cup Series playoffs champion at Homestead Miami Speedway. After conquering the Coliseum last night, Muhammad Alif has locked his way into the championship four alongside Tim Robb of American University, the juggernaut Jared Kaler of UNC Charlotte, and Zach DeWale from St. Clair College, all able to lock themselves in on points. The 4 best drivers in the College Cup Series will duke it out in a highest finisher takes all race, and this is one event you will not want to miss. So be sure to tune in next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on the CIL Twitch and YouTube channels to catch that. And I believe that will do it for us tonight and this season for Formula C. So on behalf of myself, co-commentator Josh, producer Matt, and all of us at Formula C and the CIL, we want to thank you all for tuning in tonight and all season. And until next Monday, stay fast.